So you're a humble solo or duo with a love for the game, but limited time to play it. You don't have 8 hours a day to spend grinding away for a huge base. You want to get right into the action and still come home to a base that's strong and secure, with everything necessary to have a successful wipe. Well, look no further than the Loveshack. The Loveshack is a hyper-efficient, highly compact solo-duo starter base that can easily serve your needs from the humble beginnings all the way to the endgame. You've got full auto turret coverage inside and out, a high-visibility airlock with drop-off storage, an insanely efficient second floor with a well-guarded battery, every deployable you could ever need, and a 23-rocket TC and Mainloot compartment boasting almost 10 large boxes worth of storage. Even on a shoestring budget, the Loveshack has everything you need to dominate your wipe with minimal effort. The numbers shown on screen take into account every single deployable and endgame upgrade, such as armored doors and glass windows. So if this wasn't cheap enough already, prior to those expensive upgrades, the upkeep will be even less than what you see here. Let's take a tour of the base. Really quick before the tour starts, guys, please consider dropping me a follow on Twitch and Twitter. I'm not streaming regularly yet, but I've done a few so far and they were a lot of fun. Plus, I might leak a build on stream. I could really use some more followers on Twitter too, because nobody important will listen to a guy with 52 followers on Twitter. Feels bad, man. Let's get on with the tour. First, coming around outside, we see that 3 auto turrets give us 360-degree coverage around the base so that nobody can camp around your walls or at your door, and raiding the base becomes significantly more difficult without first destroying them. We jump up to the base via either side of our dust-style entrance. Wooden shutters allow us to control visibility around the front of our base, and a double door opening outwards creates an airlock so that we can safely engage attackers without risk of getting deeped on. A research table, drop storage, and sleeping bags finish this room off. Heading inside, we're greeted on the left by a hyper-efficient loot room that completely covers the floor with boxes without blocking access to our protected battery. It can easily power every single auto turret and even some additional things such as lighting or traps and sensors. On our right, we absolutely maximize our usage of space by squeezing in a bunch more storage without obstructing mobility through the base. An auto turret covers the majority of our loot and our entrance as well. Heading down our furnace jump up into the core, we see everything we need to live out our wipe. A T3 bench, more storage, our sleeping bags, a locker, and of course, our main loot room, all covered by another auto turret. This loot room is easily accessible and is so efficient that it holds almost 10 large boxes worth of loot. Next to it, we find our TC in the most protected corner of the base. Heading up to the roof, we see another auto turret protects the majority of the space and even allows us a chance at fighting back in the event of a top-down raid. We have a small little overhang to mount a sprinkler and a light if you want to grow some crops. Roof ramps shield us from ground fire and are occasionally broken up to allow various sight lines to shoot down at attackers. The exit can be opened or closed to catch raiders by surprise with your auto turret as well. That pretty much wraps up the base. Let's learn how to build it. Begin the build by placing a square foundation and a triangle above and to the right. Wall everything in except the left of this triangle. Place 2 wall frames and fill them with double doors to secure your starter. Then finish off the ceiling. Place your tool cupboard against the right of the empty triangle and as close to you as possible without preventing the placement of this window frame later on. This is your basic starter with a functional airlock. Fill it with early game deployables. These are just temporary placements, so don't worry about the precision of them too much. The starter will serve you well for the first couple hours on your adventure, but you'll need to expand as your demand for storage and furnaces goes up. Come outside and place a square here and a triangle here. Wall in everything and place a square roof above you. Place a single furnace at the very back of this triangle and then a double door opening towards it. This creates our jump up to the second floor. Place a full wall on the left and a twig half wall on the right to allow this shelf placement. Then demolish the half wall. Replace it with a full wall as well, and cap off the elevator with a roof and a double door opening outwards. We need a way up now, So come down outside and place a square foundation in the center with a triangle on the right. Use a roof triangle facing towards the base as your way up and down to the second floor. Inside the base, at this point you can put things wherever you'd like, because we're going to pick everything up once we get a tier 2 workbench, the garage door blueprint, and a little bit of HQM. Once you've got all of that, pick everything up and deploy the bench. Start replacing every double door with a garage door until the base looks like this. Come to the back of the TC compartment and upgrade both of these tiles to HQM. You have to do this before honeycombing the base because you won't have access to the walls later to upgrade them. Place a twig half wall here so that you can place this half shelf and then demolish the half wall. Replace it with a window frame. Ensure that the soft side faces the shelf. Half shelves that intersect with the soft side of a window frame cause it to become hard side automatically. Now we can build our main loot room. Follow these placements precisely, ensuring that the first large box is flush against the sidewall and pretty far back. Place the barbecue with the lid facing away from the box, and if everything was snug, another large box will fit on the other side. Barbecues should fit nicely against each sidewall in front of the large boxes, and small boxes should fit naturally underneath each of them. Finally, a small box goes sideways in the middle. You'll basically repeat an identical layout on the bottom, but keep in mind you may want to leave it in this unfinished configuration until you're ready to upgrade your walls to their final grade, because you won't be able to reach them after you do the rest like this. Your core sleeping bags get placed like so, and 2 more furnaces can now fit in your jump up. At this point in the build, I'm going to place everything at its final level of material upgrade, so you'll have to decide for yourself when to make those upgrades in-game as resources come in. I do, however, recommend that you get your main loot room to sheet metal as early as possible so the base isn't a 4-rocket raid. Once you get your first locker, place it flush against this wall, but not all the way to the right. You want to leave a little gap between the box and the locker like this so that you can still jump into the loot room. I didn't show it in the tour, but you can actually also put 3 campfires here for additional storage. There's some Dropbox placements as well that I didn't show, but they make mobility a lot worse, so I'll leave it up to you to experiment with them on your own. Before we build the second floor, let's honeycomb the first one. Follow around the base with triangle foundations like so. You want them all to be metal, except this one, which is going to be stone, as it mirrors its buddy on the other side. This is what it should look like from above. Mirror your jump up ramp on the one stone foundation here, and then start filling out all of the sheet metal ones, ensuring that each wall has the hard side facing away from the base. When you get to the middle square here, it might be confusing, but you basically just want all 3 hard sides facing away from the square tile itself. Then cap everything off with roofs. Before we can make the jump to tier 3, let's create our second floor so we have some visibility and roof access. Wall in the second floor like so, and fill it out with roofs. The triangle above the battery room will be HQM at its final grade. Place a wall frame at the entrance and a window frame in front of it, 2 single door frames on the side, and a floor frame above. A double door goes here opening outwards, it should be an armored one eventually, and a window here. Ladder hatch opening towards the base, and industrial doors go on the side. Unless you don't have them, then regular singles are fine. This ladder hatch actually blocks players from coming through when it's open as well. Place your research table in a large box beneath it. We're just about ready to make our T3 upgrades. Honeycomb these back two triangles with stone, and create a half-shelf jump up over the roof access. Come down to the core and pick up your bench and bags. Place your tier 3 workbench flush against the side wall and an auto turret flush against the back wall. If both were placed well, your bags should replace nicely like so. 3 more small boxes can be placed in the core, although the one to the left of the bench can be tricky. Try jumping while placing it if you need to. Finally, a drop box can go here, and that completes the core. Place your battery up top before putting the window frame down. Technically you can do it after too, but the placement won't be as good. Come outside and place a twig half shelf here to allow a triangle tile facing the battery inside. Then destroy the twig. Do the same on the other side, but on the back, so that we have a triangle shelf facing the airlock. With our 2 triangle shelves down, we can start to outfit our second floor. Start with this loot room. It must be done with absolute precision if you want all 4 boxes. Line this box up straight against the wall and wait until you feel it touch, then pull back precisely 1 pixel. Once you've got it precisely 1 pixel away from the wall, strafe to the left so it's touching the sidewall, and then place. If done correctly, you should also be able to squeeze this box flush with both walls like so. Before placing the third box, you'll need a sheet metal wall frame and a garage door. Use the same strategy as before, flushing up the boxes and then pulling back 1 pixel before strafing left. You can see there's no gap here either. If everything went well, this last box should place relatively easily. The same alignment strategy can be employed on the top of the shelf as well. And then the last box can be placed easily with the help of a twig triangle. This one doesn't need to be so precise. Now that we have a T3 bench, go ahead and place armored windows over your battery and your TC as well. Remember that they take damage whenever you remove them, so keep some HQM nearby to repair them in between removals. Let's fill out this loot room now. Use the same strategy as before to place this box flush against both walls. Then attempt to do the same up top. Honestly, I find this box tough to place even now. Try aligning it with the left wall first, and then pushing it back like I'm doing here. Boost up on something to place this large box, and don't worry about being precise because it'll work regardless. A repair bench goes underneath, and 2 small boxes can also be put inside of it. A barbecue can be placed with the lid facing away from this wall, and a small box goes underneath. If the box won't place, check for open garage doors beneath it. That's usually the culprit. Boost yourself up one more time to place this small box. Once you've got some spare kits to put in your drop box, bag yourself in the airlock so you have a secondary respawn point to defend your base from if your core bags are destroyed. At this point in the build, it's time to fill out our roof and place all of our auto turrets. We don't have any power for our battery yet, so we'll get a windmill up as well before we place the rest of the turrets. Come outside and place roof tiles around the base like so. I'll show the first 2 from a realistic in-game position, and then do the rest with my magical no-clip powers. You get the idea. Now in order for our roofs to have the cracks in between them, we actually want every second roof tile to be wood instead of stone, so only upgrade half of them to stone. This deactivates the conditional model that normally connects them together and creates the cracks that we're looking for. Build up with 4 stone frames on the front and back of your roof jump up. You can use the netting deployable to climb up the frames as you build and to reach the top to eventually place the turbine itself. Now let's go over every auto turret location and then I'll teach you how to wire them up. The first one goes on top of the jump up, as far out as you can get it without making it stick through the garage door when the garage door is closed. Next, we'll build our 2 frontal auto turret cages. Use wall frames on the side and a stone floor tile on top. Place the turret in the center and then enclose it in chain link fence. Bow and arrows cannot effectively destroy auto turrets when they're behind chain link fences, so even when you're offline, these turrets will be difficult to destroy. On the back side of the base, we create a similar chain link enclosure with the turret placed as far away from the base as possible without preventing the fence placement. Finally, we place 1 turret here. Campfires can go next to it for more storage. The last thing left to do is wire everything up. So I'll show you a quick and simple method to get a minimum of 7 turrets online 24/7. Climb up to the wind turbine and use the wire tool to grab its power output. Wire your way down and try to do it carefully. If your wires are clean and well concealed, they won't give away the position of your electrical equipment, which can make it significantly more difficult for a raider to formulate their plan of attack. Hook up the windmill to the battery's power input. This will cause the battery to receive an average of around 85 power. Auto turrets use 10 power each, and the rest of the components we'll be using eat up a little bit too. So we can power up to 7 turrets before we start using more power than we're pulling in, which would cause our battery to die. We always have to pull in more power than we use up. Place 5 branches, which we'll use to wire up our 5 turrets, and then a switch to control them all from the battery. Connect the output of the battery into the input of the switch, and the output of the switch to the input of your first branch. Branches are a device with 2 outputs. The first one is called the branch out, which allows us to choose a number and force precisely that amount of power through that output. The second one is called the power out, which just sends all the remaining power through. Press E on the branch and specify 10. This means the branch out will send exactly 10 power. Now grab that branch out with your wire tool and send it to one of your turrets. This sends exactly 10 power to that auto turret. As you can see, when we turn on the switch, exactly 10 power gets sent to that auto turret, which turns it on. Grab the power out on that first branch and wire it into the input of your second branch. Then repeat the same process as before by specifying 10 power and wiring the branch out to another turret. As always, this build is only a platform for you to modify or expand to your liking. There are many additional upgrades you could make if you get rich during your wipe, such as honeycombing the rest of the top floor, HQMing the entire roof, adding more armored doors, etc. Go crazy if you want. I'd like to give a special thanks to Dust for giving me feedback and inspiration during the late drafts of the build. His channel will be linked down below. Definitely check him out if you haven't already. As always, I'm super grateful to have you watching and hopefully subscribed, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.